Welcome to the ROI Masterclass, the podcast where vision meets strategy and bold moves create measurable results. I'm Liat Siegel, interior designer and ROI strategist with 17 years of experience. I help businesses transform properties and ideas into high-performing assets. This show is specifically for real estate investors, hospitality operators, and boutique developers who aren't afraid to take risks, challenge the status quo, and demand a return on every decision they make. Each and every week, we talk with innovators and leaders across industries about the strategies and the insights and really all the unconventional thinking that turns potential into profit every single time. If you believe that smart design, decisive leadership, and strategic risk are the keys to real ROI, you're in the exact right place. Let's dive in. Today's guest is a real estate investor and wholesaling expert who's closed over 200 deals in just the past 3 years. Coming from humble beginnings and overcoming failed businesses, he found his breakthrough in real estate and built a thriving investment team. Known for putting values before his skills, he's passionate about helping others unlock their potential, build wealth, and create lives they're proud of. Thank you so much, Avi, for joining us. I can't wait to hear your story and hear how you got to where you are today.
Thank you. It's been an interesting journey, to say the least. And it's my second podcast, so I'm looking forward to see what we can get out of this conversation.
So tell us about, you've been through a lot, you mentioned that your family lost everything. Tell us about that story and how that brought you to where you are today.
It's funny because that situation where we lost everything came from a place of wanting to help somebody else, but we ended up with pretty much nothing at the end of it. So I grew up in Israel, and my aunt started a business and it didn't do well, and my dad, really wanting to help, decided to take some debt on, not so great debt. And when I say not so great, I mean if you don't pay back, it's not the bank that comes after you, it's other people that come after you. So long story short, the business failed, and he had to make a choice, either to sell the house and pay the debt or face very uncomfortable situation. During that whole time, my mom had no idea this whole thing had been going on. So one day he just, I don't even know how, I don't know if he told her or she just discovered somehow, but bottom line is they had to sell the house. And so facing probably one of the most scary situations that a family can face, losing their home. At the time, it didn't feel as bad as it sounds now, but it was. But luckily, my grandma saved a lot of money. When I say a lot of money, relatively, she was like cleaning houses and doing very blue-collar jobs, but she was able to have a little bit of money for a dark day. That's what she did. And when the dark day came, she had that money set aside so we could pay rent. She could help my mom even buy another house after a little bit of time. Yeah, that was the age of 13.
And you remember it like you're living it. I see. It's like you're living it, reliving it as you tell that story.
You know, you remember those emotional moments. So it's very hard to not remember the situation, even after 22 years.
I mean, my parents went through a really difficult divorce. And I was also really, really young. And I remember the moment they told me that they were going to get a divorce, I was 6 at the time. I remember where I was sitting and how I was feeling and what the couch looked like, and it's these situations that really shape us. And I think that they make a big impact on the things that we do today and how we approach what we do today.
Yeah. And it's funny. I'm looking at other people sometimes and I'm like, dude, how are you going on so many vacations? How are you buying this car? How are you doing this and that? Even though I can allow myself to spend money, and I do, I still have that fear. I think it comes from that situation, right, of losing a house, that I always want to have enough and not like go above what I can allow myself, and always have a buffer. Like, okay, I make this, I can spend that. Obviously it grew over time, but I think experiencing that at a young age taught you what taking big risks. And if you apply it to business, I think it has a great impact, right? Because you can go and you can raise money and hire a bunch of people and do this and that. But instead of doing that, we just decided to put the work in. And we had one virtual assistant at $6 an hour. And that's how we started the business.
So how does having gone through something like that and now taking risks, because in real estate you have to, in order to succeed, how has that impacted, and how have you overcome that fear in order to take on the the risk so that you can grow?
I actually don't think you need to take a lot of risk in real estate. You really need to put a lot of work and learn. I mean, we started community development 8, 9 months ago, and it's about buying big parcels of land that is suited for 75 units or more. And there's a lot of risk in doing deals like this. But we just had a conversation, I mean, an hour ago about the kind of risk we want to take. And we said, there are homeowners that require, landowners that require you to put $500,000 down or $250,000 down just to get into a contract. Well, we're going to be patient. We're not going to work with those homeowners. So we're going to work with homeowners that understand that, hey, we need to talk to the city. We need to send some plans. We need to get some approval. We're going to be patient. We're hungry to succeed, but don't confuse being hungry with being stupid, because you could be really, really hungry, but at the same time, know what you can and can't take. So today, I don't feel like going into 5 deals, spending $500,000 on each deal and due diligence fees and planning and rezoning and all of that, and taking big risks. So going back to childhood and taking risks, my point of view about business is that you don't have to. You have to put the work. You don't have to take the risk.
So what do you do in order to overcome the risk? Are there certain strategies that you could share with our audience that would be helpful for them, like what you just said right now, and having landowners that you're purchasing from be patient so that you can work all the numbers and figure out and make sure that it's the right deal? Is there anything else that they can do so that they can overcome that risk and not lose it all, God forbid?
I think in life in general, that probably applies for every business, not just real estate. You can pay with money or you can pay with effort. From where I come, the way I grew up, coming here with $2,000 to the States, I always prefer to, not always, but most of the time, prefer to pay with effort. Now, obviously, over time, you want to kind of like buy back your time. And now when we started community development, I didn't hire a $6 an hour VA. We have a team, a US team. We set aside, a few $100,000 to kind of like invest in the business and know that outcome will come. I think Bezos said it one time, you want to take a lot of small bets, but you don't want to bet the company, right? You don't want to bet your future. So is it okay to lose some money? Sure. But lose what you can afford to lose, not what you can't afford to lose. Because if you lose what you can't afford to lose, it's very hard to bounce back. Like if you go bankruptcy, you lose your house, it's very, very hard to rebuild yourself. But you can, along the way, depends on where you're at in life, can take small bets and be consistent over time and still be successful.
Would you say that that's kind of the number one lesson you learned from everything that you went through as a child?
Oh, good question. Probably. There's other things. I've seen my mom working 2 jobs and cleaning houses after she went to the factory for like 8, 9, 10 hours. So work ethic was a big thing. Nobody told me to work hard. I just saw her work really, really hard. So
yeah, and it sounds like that is a common thread from your backstory and the way that you approach deals, and your whole ideology in terms of risk has come from a lot of what you've seen and what you've experienced and how to approach. Because in real estate, there's everything from betting it all to what you said in terms of sweat equity, showing up in partnerships and stuff like that. And there's so many different ways to do it. And it sounds like you're a big believer in putting together the right teams and doing it with a cool head rather than just betting it all away.
Yeah. And I actually wrote a post about it on burning the boats. One time I went to an event. It's a very famous person. We all know him. I would mention the name just because I'm not here to trash anybody, but the entire crowd was firmly into burn the boat, don't look back. Stupid advice. Don't burn the boat because you don't know what's on the island. I mean, you're getting into design, you're getting into construction, you're getting into to real estate, you're getting into product. You have no clue what's waiting for you once you enter the market. Why would you burn the boat? Stay on the boat, practice, watch, see what the players are doing, understand the environment, take a year or 2 to learn, to talk to people, to take some action.
Can you explain to us a little bit about what that means in terms of burning the boat? I'm not familiar with it.
You know how people say, like all those gurus say, hey, if you want to achieve certain outcome, you just need to burn the boat so you have no other choice, kind of like you're back against the wall, right? Type of thing. So quit your job, leave everything you do, put all in, go 16 hours a day, and then you get there. They all say that. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but I heard it too many times. I actually did it twice. And it was like not so great decisions. Like I quit my job, I opened moving companies twice. And I think when you quit your job, especially if you have to pay bills and you don't, I don't know, live with your parents and you're in your 20s, there's a certain amount of stress and liability that comes with going all in And sometimes things don't depend on you. Sometimes the market is not so great. Sometimes the competition is really, really hard. It's going to take more to penetrate a specific market and earn business. So that's what I mean by that. Don't be too excited to put yourself with your back against the wall. Maybe for some people it works, but you much rather make decisions when you're comfortable than when you're under pressure and kind of like really need somebody. Like today, if, let's say I negotiate a real estate deal and I'm comfortable and I have money and I have pipeline of deals and I review multiple deals and I can make good decisions about the deals. But if I'm pressed and I don't have a job and I really need a deal to make a buck tomorrow or a month from now, I'm probably not going to make as good of a decision as I would have had I had the time to really look at it from a logical point, not somebody who's under pressure and really need it.
You have to be able to meet things with a cool head. When your back is up against the wall and you don't have cash flow, you're never going to make good decisions. I think we've all been there as entrepreneurs. And I think that I like that you mentioned before that, and in your bio, that you have failed multiple times, and that has brought you to where you are today, because going through those failures in order to understand things like that, and it takes going through difficult situations. It seems like through social media that there are so many people that just get lucky and are able tomorrow to start something and make bank every single day. But I don't think it's really true, is it?
Yeah, I've yet to meet anybody who had an overnight success. It always looks like an overnight success, but the person did it for at least 3, 4, 5 years before they could really see results. When we started a business, I had a job, and for almost 2 years, I felt the market. I did some deals. I put the money that I had into flips, and although I had multiple flips going on, I had no money because all the money I made at my job, I put it into the business and into funding those flips. And only after almost 2 years, I was able to actually replace my income and be at a point where I'm comfortable and I don't have to have a job. And even then, our team wasn't big. It was relatively small.
It must have been scary, though, to go through that and, put all your earnings and equity, your investment in yourself into these deals and give it the time to be able to grow and get to the point where you could actually replace your income.
I would say we got lucky in a way because it was the pandemic time, and 6 to 8 months after the pandemic started, the market realized, oh, you can buy things at 2.9% interest rate. And so you would go under contract on a house, and then within literally 3 months, it's already 10% up or 15% up. It was insane. It was I would say a little bit easier. When the market goes up, you pay less on your mistakes. You need a little bit of luck in everything, or maybe God, guide you in the right direction. Or
Absolutely. And we don't always realize it when it's happening. Sometimes it seems like it's not luck, but then looking back, they say hindsight is 20/20, but nobody wants to see 20/20. Tell us a little bit about how all of these stepping stones have turned into what you're doing today with wholesaling and all the other ventures that you have going on.
Just to be honest, I love a lot of aspects, and there's aspects that I don't love so much. You know how people say follow your passion, do the things you like the most, and and there's this great book. It's called So Good They Can't Ignore You. And I'm not sure if you read the book, but it's a beautiful book, and it talks about many, many examples. One of them was a woman that loved yoga, and she's like, I'm going to have a yoga studio. Well, she went bankruptcy after a year or so. And the reason is when you get into business, you're going to do marketing, sales, operation. It's very unlikely that you're going to do yoga if you own a yoga studio. I mean, maybe some of it would be yoga, but a lot of it need to how you get customers, how you operate your operation and services, how you sell, so finance. So there's aspects that you're going to like about business, and there's aspects that you don't like so much. And I think the goal for every business owners over time is not to just make a lot of money, is to buy back your time. So then you can do what you love. Back to your question on how we evolved. So I think over time, we became more and more risk averse to where we want to take 0 to none. So when we started the business, we said, okay, in order to make money, we need to flip. We need to take the risk on ourselves. So we took every opportunity we had. At a certain point, I think we had 12 or 15 projects at the same time, which was fine when the market was going up. And then at the end of 2022, interest rate went up. Suddenly everything was sitting, and it's very uncomfortable when all your money is kind of like like invested and you were riding this great path and you made money during the last year and a half, but then suddenly things are slowing down, they're sitting, and your equity is out plus more debt, hard money loans. Not so fun, right? Money does not come in, and every month you got to pay the hard money loans. It wasn't that bad. Luckily, it wasn't 2008 or anything. So we sold them, most of them in still great profit. But that taught us, hey, we don't want to be in the business of holding a lot of flips because there's a lot of variables. There's construction variables, there's market variables, there's city approvals and permits and stuff like that. We want to be more conservative. And so we moved on to selling all of our deals to investors. That means that cash cycle is much quicker. You don't hold the property that long. Maybe you hold it for a week or two after you purchase it, but then you sell it to somebody else that's what they're best at. Us also being out of state, managing projects remotely and having a project manager on site. It's a little bit different when you live in the same market. And that was one kind of like transition that we did. And then 2 years ago, my business partner comes from a development background. He built for other investors. He built hotels and condominiums in New York City and Manhattan. He knows development. So we came across an opportunity, a lead that was in the system. It was right after a presentation that we heard in an organization called Collective Genius. It's a network, just like you have your own community, right? Same type of thing. I am a big believer in communities. So from that community, I mean, we got so much value as far as real estate. Unbelievable how many things we implemented to the business. One of the things was a presentation on how to identify those opportunities for development. So I think like 2 weeks, and again, we talked about luck. It's kind of luck because if the lead came in 3 months before, I probably would have never remembered to even which lead was it. But we had so many leads in the system. But 2 weeks after the presentation, suddenly a lead come in, and I'm like, that sounds like the presentation. Let me see what Moshik thinks about it. Moshik is my business partner. He looked at it, looked at the zoning, all looks like good. And if you know development a little bit, there's a lot of surprises. I mean, in construction, there's surprises. In development, it's like basically, even if you know the business, you're in the dark half of the time. Anyway, so how we evolved is we got this deal, did the land development, the planning and the permits and the rezoning, and went through the whole thing. We had to bury cable lines and all kind of weird stuff that needed to be done in order for the neighborhood to be approved. We sold that deal last month, and it was by far the biggest deal we ever did. And like, I don't want to say the number, but it is something that we have never done before. And as we were going through it, we were like, that's interesting. We did all this work last year with the team, analyzing so many deals and doing so many single families. And now we saw this one deal that was kind of like equal to all the work that we did with the other, however many deals we did that year. And we were like, okay, that's something we want to do more of, right? More profit, maybe longer timeline because it takes a year and a half. So that's going to be our focus in the next couple of years, looking for a site that we can develop. And we built a brand for that, community development. And that's kind of like our focus now, to recruit the best team members and people that can really drive this really far. I think it has huge potential. We are taking the skills that we learned in lead generation, marketing, a little bit of branding, sales, a lot of sales in the wholesale side, and bringing it into development. I think it has like a fresh approach and a little bit different approach that the big companies aren't willing to do. Like I know that if you work for a big fund, the way they do is like, hey, you want an offer? Here's an offer. I'll send you something very official via email. There's no emotions. There's no relationships. Again, I think based on what I saw, I think a smaller organization like us actually have an advantage with families and landowners that want to talk to somebody. They don't want to talk to some like big corporate. I'll let you know what's going on after our VP and management, whatever teams is meeting.
People buy from people, whether it's a small deal or a large deal. And you went through such a transformation going from flipping homes to wholesaling and now doing land development and large buildings. How did that make you feel, that entire transformation? Because that's quite a journey. That's a big transformation.
Let me tell you, before you have it, you think, oh, when I'm going to have it, it's going to be awesome. You think about this big target, right? Everybody want to be a millionaire, billionaires, whatever your dream is. And you think, when I see that amount or whatever, when I have this much money in my bank account, I'm going to feel like the feeling. We closed on the deal and it was done. Finally, got delayed a few times. I called my partner, like, hey, did you see the wire went through? Like, yeah, let's have a moment to just feel the achievement, right? You're talking about the feeling. I was really making an effort to feel the achievement, but couldn't hold myself from talking about the next thing.
That's
It's
an
true.
entrepreneur. That's a true entrepreneur.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And I think what I learned through that, because we had some challenges in the last 2 months with one of the marketing vendors and honestly some mistakes that I'm going to fix. I think the best feelings is from the progress that you're getting right now. So you got that new contract, you improved your system, you improved your processes, you hire the right person that joined the team and he's awesome. And you're like, man, I'm having so much fun talking to Lynn because she's like always pushing and have ideas and like that's the feeling. When the wire hit the bank account, there's no feeling. Nobody talks to you.
Right. It's just done.
Yeah. Just it's funny, but there's really no, I mean, yeah, you put a smile on your face, you feel the achievement. We said, hey, let's get together with the girls and his wife and my fiance and celebrate. Sure. But I get fulfilled from a conversation with a team member that is passionate, that I feel like they think like me, they feel like me, they act like me, and we have like a mutual understanding of what we're after, far more than the wire.
It's the game. It's not the destination, the journey.
Yeah, I know it sounds cliche, but that's what it is. It really is.
How has having the right team and a strategic team at the table helped you achieve and, going through that journey and getting to that destination?
It's everything. It's absolutely everything. I would have not done the development deal without my business partner with a background in development. We would have not built a system we built to generate leads without someone on my team, Lean specifically, that now is leading the lead generation team. I just can't think of doing anything without a team. It's also a lot less fun. And that's why one of our next moves, once we kind of like completely get community development off the ground and get some good traction, which we should. And tomorrow I'm flying to Charlotte and hopefully get a deal or two done, have some meetings. But one of my goals is to put together a team also here in Miami, because our team is in Charlotte, and have them come to the office and hang out and go play volleyball after and go to the gym together and maybe do something on the weekend together. And so I think that's the real essence of life, because I don't think any number really gonna make you happy.
Right, because you're all working towards a goal, and especially if there's a why behind that and also a care in who the team is. It's not like you were saying about the corporate America where another number, it's just another, VP or, admin person that you need to wait on. These are real people that are making a real impact. And you as a leader are making an impact on their lives too.
You got to make it about them. I mean, if anybody listen here and you're growing a team, and you got to make it about them. I told them like 2 or 3 days ago, I want the senior salespeople that work with us 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I want you guys also to be millionaires, and I want you to have good life. Like one of my team members said that he really likes kayaking, because I was telling him about how much I like volleyball, and that I took a volleyball coach, and I was like, what do you like? Like, I like kayaking. Okay, do you have a kayak? No, I live by the lake, but da. I'm like, okay, how much is the kayak? He said a few $100s. I'm like, dude, go get a kayak. And he's like, no, he's a new employee. No, when I get my first deal. I'm like, okay. So he got his first deal. I was like, did you get your kayak? He's like, no. I'm like, don't come tomorrow. Don't show up to the meeting tomorrow if you didn't buy yourself a kayak. Like, I want you to have fun. You see,
I'm going to force you to have fun.
I'm going to force you to have fun. And we also do like a semi goal setting session with them every 3 months. I know one of my team members want to fix his dad's boat. He wants to buy a certain watch, and he wants to buy a certain car. And his bigger goal is to buy a piece of land that he wants to build some Airbnb on with his dad in Maine. And I have, like, if you're a business owner and you don't align your team's goals, personal goals, with the company goal, I mean, they're going to leave you at some point. Because I really believe that employees will stay with you as long as you serve their goals. And once they see that you stopped and this job no longer serve my goals for my future, I'm going to go look elsewhere. And you invested time and energy and resources into them, and here you are, have to do it again.
Retention is everything. And I say that about ROI, that it's not just financial ROI, it's also the ROI of our people, right? And it's about not just our teams, but people that are using our spaces. Because when people feel good, they do good. And when they do good and they feel good, then ultimately that provides a higher ROI for, they're more productive and wanting to stay longer and with you. How have you seen the physical space producing an ROI for your buildings? and your properties in general?
We talked about it a little bit. One of our projects, it's on Lake Norman in North Carolina. If you're somewhere near Charlotte, you would know it's a kind of like fancy area. Potential to have these really cool lake vibes. And we realized it's an important project, one of the biggest that we did that year. We took it seriously, and we said, okay, we need to take, that's Moshik, my business partner from New York, brought that obviously important idea. Let's get a designer. Let's make the space feel like you're on the lake and not just renovate it. During that time, I think we sold it when interest rates went up, and in December, which is the hardest time to sell. Holidays, everybody travel. It's not a great time to sell. And we got almost full ask. And I think it was mainly because of the design that really felt like you're on the lake inside the house. The colors, the brightness, the windows, everything felt like a lake house, and it was. It was a lake house. I mean, not even that. Look at restaurants, right? I can tell you, my fiance, I'm looking at the dishes, and I think it's, especially if you look at females, really, really important how the place feel. I can go and have a sandwich and really enjoy the meat or whatever, but we wouldn't go if the place, especially for dinner, right? We wouldn't go if the space doesn't feel like welcoming and nice. And it's funny, here in Miami, it's really clear. Like, you pay for the ambience, right? You pay for the vibe. You pay for how it makes you feel.
Absolutely. I always say the example of, where would you propose? Would you propose in like a dark, dingy, falling apart restaurant, or would you propose in a nice place? The answer is obvious. The same true for all of real estate across every vertical, across every aspect and touch point, because the perceived value equates to the actual value. When we perceive something is beautiful, we're willing to pay more for it ultimately.
Yeah. I mean, right here behind me on Biscayne Boulevard, there's a building called Forma, and the average rent here for 2-bedroom apartment is, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, because of the design and amenities. And they're not bigger it's the same apartments. We were shocked. Like, they are renting them between $8,000 to $13,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment. It's not even New York City, it's Miami. And I think it mainly has to do with the design and the amenities and the way the amenities are designed.
Absolutely. It's a whole package, really. And then you layer on strategic design on top of that, and it's just explosive. Because, if you design something and you don't do the research or understand who the target market is or understand what's coming, what's trending, what does the consumer want? What do they need? And you design it completely misaligned with that, then you're leaving a lot of money on the table.
Exactly. I think really good designers, and I don't know a lot about design, but I'm just from a consumer standpoint, it's not how beautiful the design is, it's how it makes the person feel.
It's an art. It's a science, and it's an art to figure that out and understand, the textures, the comfortability, the functionality, right? Because if in terms of like website, if you go onto a website and you don't understand how to use it, then you bounce, right? And same as with a space, it's the physical space is a physical website for a business. And if the usability of it, the flow of the furniture and, the construction, it doesn't make sense, then a person doesn't feel good there. They don't want to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the hotel industry is the best example for that.
Exactly.
We booked the one hotel, and I can tell you, it's just a design. Like, it's 3 times more expensive than other hotels, but it's the design and the brand that you're walking into a lot of time.
So, Avi, what is next for you? What is the impact? What is the legacy that you're wanting to leave? What's next?
I don't think about legacy too much. I do think about winning. And for me, winning is to do the things you love with the people you love. That's it.
Very well said and wise. I think it's not complicated. I think that everybody just overcomplicates it. But like you said, in terms of your team, it comes back to people, right? Whether it's design and how we design for people or how we build for them, it really comes back to ensuring that every life that we touch with what we do makes a mark and leaves a lasting impact for the good.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anybody watched this or listened to this and you're in Miami, and you'll be looking for a job in sales, hit me up. We always recruit. The reason I even jump on a podcast or create posts every week on LinkedIn is because I want the best people to know the good and also the not so great things. Sometimes I would share things that are my challenges, things that I don't feel comfortable with or harder to do. And so, yeah, that's really the main reason that I even go public and share my life with others, just so I can have the same people that are feeling like me, thinking like me, want things like me to come join on our team.
I love it. Creating a lasting culture and an impact with the people that join you. And if anyone wants to reach out, how can they find you?
On Instagram, it's Ohana, OHANA, CI _. On LinkedIn, it's just Avi Ohana. And I'm in Miami. I'm sure there's more Avi Ohana, but you'll probably recognize my face.
Amazing. We'll put your information in the show notes. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today. And Avi, we can't wait to see what's next for you.
Awesome. Thank you, Liat.
Thank you so much.